So my name is Anita Brightley-Hodges. I'm the founder and managing director of Family Business Place, and I guess we are the leading family business network in the UK and in Ireland. I guess we also have regular contact with about 5,000 family businesses in the UK on a regular basis through our conferences, through our awards, and through our news bulletin and the various events we have. The business really is there to raise the profile of family businesses in the UK, because we're a little bit like a hidden gem, do you know what I mean, compared with other countries in Europe who most of their economy is made up of family firms, and they really sort of are proud of it, you know. And the other part of it is supporting family businesses, particularly when they are looking for succession and going through to the next generation. So I'm a family business advisor as well. But we were trying to think about a way that we could really add value to family businesses. And I used to belong to an executive group, just as the one that we're promoting, and the people on that board became lifelong friends. But so this new initiative really is really the very best of both, you know. So the knowledge and experience and empathy with family business, because we are one, and then with Tim's expertise and his particular program, which is brilliant. I mean, if you think about Vistage, it's as good as, if not better than Vistage, which is like the leading American coaching brand. So we have a nationwide business as far-reaching as Scotland, Wales and Ireland, and we also have Kent-based events, because I live here in Kent, and Kent's a huge county, and there are some brilliant family businesses in Kent. So we hold family business forums, which are free for family businesses, and they are sponsored. So it's exclusively family firms.
So thinking in terms of corporations as a whole in the world of businesses, why are family businesses important in 2017?
I don't know if you know, but 60% of all privately owned businesses in the UK are family run. There are over 3 million family businesses in this country. Okay. And if you compare that then with other countries, for example, in Germany, 91% of privately owned businesses are family run. And it's got a name there, I don't know if you're aware, called the Mittelstand. And basically that is the German economy. And in Spain, there's 90%. The USA is 50%, and us here in the UK is 60%. So the Germans have really got it wrapped up, because they really understand the value that independent, family-run businesses can contribute to their GDP, to the community, to employment, to skills. And I think that really, for me, was, how can I say it? I felt that was something we could aim for in this country. And as I was part of that family business community myself, and with our particular skills, we felt that we could do that. Now, the problem is, for those family businesses, is only 30% make it to generation 2, less than 12% make it to the third generation, and less than 4% make it beyond that. So those stats say that there's a trouble at mill, and over the course of our time, we've discovered what those problems are, really. But if you think about a large corporation and a family business has inherent values of its founders. It is local, so it employs local staff. It will train its people. It's flexible. They're entrepreneurial, so when the markets change, they can change their businesses to suit. They invest a lot in the local community in terms of philanthropy and charity. So then they're the very fabric of a jurisdiction is sort of enhanced by the fact that it's got family businesses really leading that. In a large corporate, you would never know personally who heads up that business. You would have no idea about its governance structure. You would have no information except the information you need to know about, and you are just a number in it. And it has this good plus, of course, it is. It can take on big, lots of large corporations are global. Lots of large corporations employ a lot of people. The challenges and the challenges and the learning that can be done through those businesses are fantastic. But I guess we live in an age now where I think collaboration, entrepreneurship are the buzzwords. And people these days will never see them having a job for life anymore. And with the economy as it is, I think, more and more people are going to be setting up businesses with their mums, their dads, their aunts, their sisters, their cousins. Do you see what I mean? So it's a really fantastic hotbed for new enterprises, but they need at the heart of it some excellent advice, and also a peer group that they can turn to say, I've got a problem and I can't share it with my own family. I can't talk to anyone else about it, but I'd have a peer group that run businesses, but also have that added family aspect to it. So there's more than meets the eye. But if you think about family business, they're there for the long term. They're looking to the next generation. It's not a quick buck. So that's the difference, really.
In terms of then, so I mean, for a specific example, then what happens, for example, when the interests of the family member are not aligned to the interests of the business? For example, if a family needs its business to distribute its funds for living expenses and retirement, but the business needs to stay competitive, what advice can you offer in this circumstance?
It's very important to understand that the values of the family need to be aligned with the values of the business. The business, like any business, will prosper if it's run properly, it has a great product, great price, positioning, etc. But its level of productivity will be tempered depending on how well the family members gel together. If there's trouble at mill, you know what it's like if you have a row with your wife or your kid or your mum. You feel it in the pit of your stomach, don't you? But in a family business, and that's one thing, but if you have a job, you just go to work and, it carries on. But if you imagine you have that sort of uncomfortable feeling about things you've spoken about the family, and particularly when there's money, shares, ownership, and power involved, you could take that into the business, and it's almost like by osmosis. Your staff will feel it, everyone knows about it, and so a good family governance policy on the way that the business should be structured, and also a good, meaningful structure for the family themselves. That's important, and that's why most family businesses fail, because they don't align their values, so they're unable to separate what makes a business successful operationally from the family issues, which could be about anything really. Because don't forget, in a boardroom, the people on the board talk about the business and the management of it, done. But don't forget, in a family business, you may have your board, but there'll be another boardroom in the kitchen. So, it's quite tough. And to have that, to be able to tackle the issues, we call it the elephant in the room, but really a family business is an elephant in the room itself. Do you know what I mean? It's quite complicated. And so I think that what we bring is this network and this opportunity to find people that can guide you and can help you start having difficult conversations about wealth, distribution, shareholding, power, the business, succession, etc. And these are nuances of a family business. You don't get them in non-family business corporations.
It's an interesting point, actually, because it sounds a bit like the kind of advice that you give businesses might overlap with some of the advice that a relationship counsellor would give a couple that was after some guidance. But sort of from that, what lessons are there that a family business could teach other non-family businesses when it comes to leadership?
I just think it's better out than in, for starters. And when I'm working with family businesses, we tackle that first. All right, so we get everything out on the table, and the process that I use is highly confidential, so that I can get to the truth of everything and provide a safe and secure atmosphere for that discussion to happen. That from then on, that is at the heart of it. And yes, you're right, it's a bit like marriage guidance, but you've got the generation gap, you've got misinterpretation of aspirations. Each generation has different value sets. And don't forget, when you get into third generation, we're really talking about a cousin consortium. So, the shares of the company are even more diluted as they go with the next generation. So you have that. But if you can get that right, then the operational side of any normal business then can really benefit from that normal, what I call normal, operational coaching and mentoring and, peer group that any other business would have. But what we have to understand about family businesses is that, there is family and there's business always. And if you ignore one, for the sake of the other, it will fail. And that's why those stats are so bad. 30% make it into the next generation. There's so many reasons why that's so bad, but the biggest one is just understanding why you're in business together, pulling together as a family.
Well, actually, I persuaded him. If you look at it the other way around, my family's been in business in various different guises in 4 generations. My great-grandfather had a building business. My grandfather carried on the building business. My dad closed the building business. And then me and him started with the money that we made from that. The business started our own. And actually, it was both of us that drove it. So we actually collided and came in with it together rather than him persuading me. But what he did bring was some really, really good experience. And we had some rules when we started the business, which were actually laid down by my mum. And the rules are very simple. We don't talk business during the weekend or in the evenings. And for 11 years, we've stuck to that. And if we do, we're told off and we don't do it. So, and the simple rules actually have made a big difference, because if we did, as Anita says, if you bring the boardroom to the kitchen table, that results in, it doesn't never go well. And
in terms of what's your experience about some specific examples? For example, if a family member who's an owner who may want to sell the business to maximise the return, but a family member wants to keep it, have you been in situations like this and you've had to find a solution to the problems?
Definitely.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And I think, interestingly enough, there are different ways of dealing with it, but a problem of selling shares to another partner are no different to a family business than they are to a normal business, except that there's a lot more emotion involved. And so when if these people have all been brought up together in the same household, they have what we call narratives in place. So they do things in a certain way. Something happens, son does this, dad does this, mum does this, and these narratives play out. And as you get older, they get more entrenched if they're not challenged. And what happens is that, let's say you do get to a point where 2 siblings, one wants to buy out and the other doesn't, and you get into a narrative which gets round in a loop, and nothing happens, and it just grows stale. And what you find with family businesses is that they eventually reach a glass ceiling. And one of the things that we're proposing to do with this executive growth program is to allow people to very easily break through that glass ceiling by benefiting from the experience of others who are in a similar position to them. But you mustn't underestimate that the emotional involvement in a big decision like selling in or buying in or selling out and things like that does make the issue much more complicated, and also means that having a sort of external third-party input is that much more valuable.
So, Anita, this segues quite nicely, actually. Tell us about the event that's coming up on the 16th of March.
Well, it's pioneering in that nothing like this exists in the UK at all. There are lots and lots of business growth clubs run by any number of people, but we live in Kent, so Tim and I thought, well, actually, we will launch the very first one in Kent, and it is for ambitious family businesses that want to grow, ambitious growth plans. That's the most important thing. The event is, as you say, on the 16th of March. That's next Thursday from 4 till 7, and it's a taster evening. So what we want people to do is, they don't have to sign up to it, but just to come along, hear what we've got to say. Hopefully, we're going to touch on all the things that they're thinking about, but haven't had perhaps the courage to even talk about, and also to understand they're not alone. And as Tim said, to be part of a board of like-minded people that run family businesses, whether they're first generation or third generation, and discussing all of the problems that go with it and the challenges and helping each other is really, really quite important. It's very, very exciting, and we're actually hosting it at McNade's, which is a family-run business in its 5th generation. So family businesses are exactly what we're about. And also we'd like people to come that perhaps are professional advisors like lawyers and accountants and coaches, etc., who have family businesses on their portfolios that know that they can't provide the expertise that's needed for their family business, but would like to help them add value and want to see them thrive and prosper. So really that's what it's all about, and building confidence and building pride and exchange of friendship. So friendship's a really important thing. Support, friendship, warmth, openness, transparency, honesty, and helping each other is really at the heart of it. But the structure that Tim is providing as delivering the programme means that, we can keep the emotion out of it and concentrate on the business. And how does that best work? So it's it's for those that want the challenge of uncomfortable discussion and perhaps to break free of the way they've always done things and to see professionalise the business and help it to thrive, because there are so many brilliant family firms out there already and they've managed to do this. So it's those are an example to us.
So Tim, specifically, what will people be covering at the event?
Okay, so what we want to do is each time that the group meets that we need to cover different business-related topics, and hopefully there will be topics that are relevant to the members. So as things come up, we will then introduce topics going on. But what we do is for each meeting that the group has, we will bring in an international level speaker who will talk about everything from corporate social responsibility through to financing, through to the economy. We discuss Brexit. We'll discuss other things around business development, then sales, marketing, but we'll also cover things about personal development like leadership, coaching, negotiation, delegation skills, all those sorts of things. And then specifically for this group, we'll look at how family dynamics grow, a piece around stress and things like that. So as the subjects come up, we'll bring speakers in to talk about them. That's one part of the development day. The rest of it is around best practice share. We have companies make their own presentations. We'll do pieces about our vision, mission and values. And then for me, the most important part of the event is what we call the issues sessions, where people bring a problem or an issue to the table. They present it. It's very formulaic. We have a process by which we do it. And then everyone in the room is able to give advice on that issue. And in my experience of doing this for 12 years, it's a very empowering process. Everyone enjoys it. Sometimes the person whose issue it is can find it a bit uncomfortable because they get a few home truths. But what they do come away with is a number of good ideas which will allow them to take whatever the issue they've got forward, perhaps in a way that them or their family had never considered. And that's really the whole purpose of this development growth program, is that we're giving people ways of approaching things that had never crossed them or their family's minds before. And it's only then when we do things differently do we really grow. So that's really the process: best practice share, international level skills development, and sharing our own issues. Hopefully we'll reach a point with the group, as Anita said, where people become friends, and they've actually become friends. And they'll start sharing some really detailed information about their company, such as, how much money we're making, what are we spending on stationery, how much are we spending on travel, what happens here, what are my issues with my directors, what are my shareholdings. So as the group gets to know each other, we hope to get really into the detail of the business, because that's where we can make a big difference.
Fantastic. And where can our listeners go for more information?
Well, we have a website called Family Business Place, and you can book online. It's free to book, okay? And if they go on to familybusinessplace.com/events and go to the events section there, at the bottom of the menu, actually you can go to familybusinessplace.com/events, the Family Business Executive Growth Programme, and you can book online there. So that's fantastic.
Fantastic. Okay.
And they can always call us, call us here on 01732 220 120 to find out more information.
And all the very best for the event on the 16th of March.
And thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.